Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to do the Quarter Year Crisis book tag. This was originally created by Roisin's Reading and is a really good way of taking stock 3 months into the year, assessing where your reading is and where you plan for it to go in the future. I love doing this video every year, so without much further ado, let's just get straight into these questions. Question number 1 is, how many books have you read so far this year? And for me, I have read 37 books this year, which I think is pretty good going. That averages out to pretty much 12 books a month, which I'm very pleased by. Question number 2 is, have you already found a book you think might be a 2025 favourite? If not, what was your favourite book that you read that wasn't quite 5-star? For the longest time, I had Henry V by Dan Jones as this, nearly there but not quite 5 stars. And then a couple of weeks ago, I read Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne, the prequel to The Hunger Games, which is looking at Hamish Abernathy's games, and it got me so emotional. That was just such a thrilling reading experience. It took me right back to being 16 again, and it put me down a rabbit hole because as soon as I finished that, I ended up listening to the audiobooks for the original trilogy. And yeah, I'm just fully back into my Hunger Games era. Question number 3 is, any 1-star books / least favourite book of the year? So my worst experiences so far this year were with the Improbable Meet Cute series, which was a collection of short stories, which I listened to on audio. 1 or 2 were quite good, but then the rest were quite meh, and my least favourite by far was Royal Valentine by Sariah Wilson, which was meant to be a modern day retake on Roman Holiday, and I just thought failed spectacularly. None of the charm, none of the charisma of that original film. I know it's meant to be a copy-paste of Roman Holiday, but no creativity, even within that modern retelling. That was just a complete mess. Question number 4 is, most read genre so far, and as a result of each of those short stories counting for one singular book within both Goodreads and Storygraph, romance has ended up being my most read genre with 10. Though once again, as I say, 6 of those are short stories. So I only think it's fair to also include my next read genres, which are historical at 9 and contemporary at 9. Question number 5 is, a book that surprised you? And for me, that's probably Ultraprocessed People by Chris Van Tulleken. This is non-fiction all about ultra-processed food, the companies that make them, the governments that don't do anything to try and limit them. And while I've said before, I don't think that this was the best reading experience ever, I do think it's given me a lot to think about. I've tried to read up and listen up to a lot more information about food, and particularly ultra-processed food, making little changes here and there in my diet. It also surprised me because I thought it was going to be a lot more diet culture-y. I don't know, I thought it was going to be a little bit more careless with its message and not necessarily take into consideration the realities of people's lives, particularly those who are living in poverty, how this message may impact on people with eating disorders, particularly orthorexia. And actually I found that Chris Van Tulleken was really, really considerate of all of these things. Question number 6 is, a book that's come out in 2025 already that you want to read but haven't yet. For me, this is definitely Lionessheart, The Life and Times of Joanna Plantagenet by Hanley, which hopefully I will get to read very soon because I know for a fact that one of my friends has got it for me as a birthday present. It just didn't arrive in time for when I was back up north, but when my mum comes down, she'll be handing it over, and I'm very excited to read this. Question number 7 is, one goal you made that you're succeeding at? So far, it has been transitioning from doing certain seasonal videos into doing them monthly, particularly the anticipated releases videos. I have started doing those monthly rather than doing 3 months at a time, and I found that I've actually enjoyed doing these anticipated releases videos so much more as a result. I can talk about more books for each month than I had before. I feel a little bit more flexibility to not just read the blurb of each book, how these books relate to books that I've read before, bits that I'm most intrigued by, and also, most notably, the videos are shorter and therefore easier to edit, and that's always a good time for me. Question number 8 is, one goal you made that you need to focus on? This wasn't necessarily a goal on my 2025 resolutions, but I've definitely felt the fact that I've not done any individual book reviews this year, though I have noted to myself that this is kind of normal for this time of year. Typically there are a lot of New Year videos that I want to get out over January and February, and then when we get to March, there's Herstory-a-thon videos that I want to do, and alongside doing wrap-ups, there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of time for doing those individual book reviews, whether that is actually planning them and scripting them or just time in the calendar to post them. I felt like last year the amount of individual book reviews I was able to do really picked up post-March especially, and so I'm hoping that going forward from April onwards I'll be able to do a few more of those. And then finally, question number 9 is, new to you booktubers, bookstagrammers, bookshockers for 2025 that you recommend? I am going to recommend Kevin Towell Reads. I especially was turned on to his videos from the various original tag videos that he's created. He's really wonderful at inciting new conversations within the booktube community. Dan Union Books has recently restarted his booktube channel, and I've been really enjoying his Walter Scott book prize videos. And Jessica from Jessica's Library Card is also new to me this year. who I found through her booktuber bio tag, and I've really enjoyed the conversations that this has prompted. So there we go, those are all of the questions to the Quarter Year Crisis book tag. I'm going to link down below to a bunch of lovely booktubers who I would love to see doing this tag. I don't know necessarily that you need to, because it does come up every single year. It is a well-loved one here on BookTube, but just in case you hadn't thought to do it, I'm just going to give you a little nudge. Please do let me know your answers to any of these questions. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.